One time I woke up and something was totally different. I felt really overwhelmed and stressed with an idea I had for weeks in my head, and I knew I couldn't keep living with that on my shoulder. And that day, I felt one of the most important decisions of my life. I stopped overthinking and began to focus more on the solution than the problem, and everything began to change. And in this video, I want to show you how to stop overthinking too much, and I will give you a few powerful tips on what is needed for creation. I would like to begin with the storyline of one of my favorite books by Jack Kerouac. It's called On the Road. A boy sets out on his free spirit journey across America and search for meaning, connection and fulfillment, while his life driven by spontaneity and avoidance of responsibility. And he decides with his feet where he will go next, because he had the strong belief system that he could achieve anything he set his mind to, and there was no limitations. Everything seemed possible. And we all can imagine how hard this can be in the 50s on the big streets of America. But no matter how difficult the situation were for him, he tried to keep always on the move. And in the end, Jake wrote a book about his journey with a roll of a manuscript that was 120 foot long. Isn't that fascinating? And for me, I had a big learning out of this. Because you learn to believe in things that are bigger than you. When I paint with oil colors, I build the fundamentals first, and I focus on shadows and values here, and you can see I stay a bit more careful than usual, because I don't want lost the overall form too early. So actually, I try to avoid mixing them all together, and it's a bit more difficult, but I have the opportunity to see all the halftones in between. In this stage of painting, I want to stay as close as possible to my reference drawing and follow clear and quick decisions. It's super easy and no compromises, mix the color and paint. But don't rush here, take the time you need. And when I catch myself getting lost in details, I try to take a step back and get a fresh eye on the things I'm following. And sometimes it's a bit hard, because it feels like you go 2 steps forward and 1 step backward, but the internet has told me one important rule that works for me: it's progress over details. And right now, I'm doing something that's beyond my horizon, and honestly, some brushstrokes feels a bit risky. And I'm telling you this because I'm sure you struggle the same way. And it can be hard means to remain positive and hopeful in each stage of painting, but anyways, this is where we learn the most, and that's the one we want to follow. This method I use to build my fundamentals is all about focus and limitation. And I want to focus on my top three here, like values, form and contrast, because everything what comes after, building on top of that. And now, let me take you with me to some beautiful guys of the artistic world I deeply admire, so let's go to the museum. There was a special exhibition I'm waiting for to see the works of artists I actually only know from books. And I was so nervous to see all these works in real life that I couldn't really sleep well the day before. The Impressionist, Revanchist painters, they were revolutionaries in their way of thinking. They challenged conventions, broke the rules of academic traditions, and captured fleeting moments in a way like no one else did before. And as an artist and creator, it's really helpful to refresh your mind and get a new perspective on the things you give your attention. What I want to do next is to bring some more darker values in some areas, like this one here. And also the face, I want to have a much more clearer understanding where the light's coming from. And a bit more darker. So this is how you can play with darker values, and the shapes should be directing everything to the focal point. You see that? It's a little bit of purple, and you see this from far away. In this area, for example, this one here. I want to bring the lightest lights more shiny. And I paint from the early morning until the late at night, putting glazes over glazes on top of glazes. And that was the night where I decided to leave this painting, let it dry, and coming back on this painting in the next video. So, we see us in the next one. Bye.